So Busu Secondary School will be against the Lay Secondary School. Put your hands together for the Busu participants. Firstly, Sonja Moyabu, Stephen Yoba, Mark Stephen, and Joyce Meta Kaisava. Okay, let's welcome the Lay Secondary School team. Firstly, Ruben Tangabi, Robert Irie, John Potty, and Daphne Anget. Please make welcome Lay Secondary School. The topic of discussion for this afternoon is Melanesian way is ideal to develop PNG. Busu Secondary is going for the topic and Lay Secondary is going against the topic. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker of the affirmative team.
Educators, the MC, the fellow members of the debating team, the audience, and the negative team. I think you all have been waiting for this time. You might as well have gone home, but you waited patiently for us. I am as the first speaker of the affirmative team, as stated by the MC, I'll wish to introduce you to the panel of the affirmative team. I'm the first speaker, and I'll be introducing the topic, explaining and giving description of what we're going to talk about, and giving the cultural aspect of the topic. Our second speaker, Stephen Yoba, who will be talking on the educational aspect of the Melanesian way. Our third speaker, Mark Stephen, will be talking about the economical way in the Melanesian way. And our last speaker, Joyce Meta Kaisava, will be summarizing our debate. With no further delay, let me go through. Before I talk about the Melanesian way, where does this Melanesian way come from? Melanesian way comes from Melanesia. Melanesia is the group of islands on the southwestern part of the Pacific that consists of Papua New Guinea, that is us, Solomon Island, Fiji, etc., which is distinguished by the rich cultural heritage. Then, Melanesian way. What is Melanesian way? Melanesian way is according to one of the most elite thinkers of our nation, late Bernard Narakobi. He stated in his Melanesian Way booklet that Melanesian way is the way in which we Melanesians act on the principles of our culture and heritage and base it on respect, mutual respect for one another, and togetherness. That is the Melanesian way. Ideal and development. Ideal and development according to the Oxford Dictionary 2005 edition. Ideal means the best and the most sufficient idea, belief, or way. And development simply means gradual progress. And I'm saying gradual progress. So putting in all this in the Melanesian aspect, Melanesian way is the trend of togetherness and oneness, and is the best and the most sufficient way for gradual progress. To my point, as an aspect culturally, Melanesian way is seen in our culture as the most powerful, and because we believe in our culture and heritage. Melanesian way gives us the sense of identity, a sense of belonging. When we know that we belong and we identify ourselves that we belong to something, and when there's problems and issues, we can overcome it because we know ourselves. And so, Melanesian way is powerful. And according to Nicholas Pharisius in his article, More Powerful Than Guns, in the 1998 written expression examination booklet, he stated that Melanesians are powerful because we believe in ourselves, and with this belief in ourselves, we can contest the orthodoxies of development. And development, in a sense, not only on materialism, Papua New Guineans, future leaders of our nation, not only on materialism, that is cutting down trees, developing a nation, no. It goes back to the integral human development and that is we developing ourselves before we develop something. And so with this, my team, the affirmative side, we strongly and believe as Melanesians and true Melanesians that Melanesian way is the best to go for PNG. And to summarize this, in the ceremony book, in Sir Paulus Martin's ceremony book of Sir Michael Somers' initiation, he stated that in the Sana, the grandfather of our chief of our nation, he ate before he fought with his enemies. No man on this earth will eat with his enemies before a fight, I tell you. But we Melanesians have this sense of togetherness and oneness, and with this, we can develop a nation. Thank you.
Thank you. First speaker of the affirmative team. Yes, ever ready. First speaker of the opposing team.
Good afternoon, fellow debaters, students, judges. Firstly, I would redefine the Melanesian way. Okay, Melanesian way refers to the culture and traditional way of life that are inherited and practiced by Melanesians. It usually affects the way we think, behave, and act under different conditions. Okay, I'll quickly introduce the opposition side. First speaker of the opposition will be giving some points against why Melanesian is not an ideal way to develop Papua New Guinea, as well as the second speaker, and our final speaker will summarize the argument for us this afternoon. Okay, as the first speaker of the affirmative side has said, she said that Melanesian way is the way for gradual change for Papua New Guinea. In the last couple of years, has Papua New Guinea improved, or has Papua New Guinea being able to develop in the past couple of years because of Melanesian way? No. We have seen less development because of the Melanesian way. And what's the point of stressing to us that the Melanesian way is the ideal way for Papua New Guinea? Melanesian way is not ideal to develop Papua New Guinea, PNG, because along with it comes a system which many of us are aware of. And this system is called nepotism. What is nepotism? One dog system. I'm sure many of you are aware of it. Nepotism simply means favoritism shown towards relatives or friends. This problem is a national concern, and it's affecting and it's deteriorating our public, our private, and non-governmental sectors in our country. This problem of nepotism. And it is one of the reasons behind us seeing less developments in the past couple of years. Okay, number one. I'll go to my point. Number one, Melanesian way is not ideal to develop Papua New Guinea because of nepotism. And number one, misuse of public funds. Nepotism, a Melanesian way, plays some roles in one way or the other to the ongoing problems of public properties and funds that are misappropriated. We are facing a lot of problems in our economy. In the past couple of years, there has been less changes done in our country. We are missing out on some of the basic supplies of goods and services because of the Melanesian way. And it has something to do with the misuse or misappropriation of funds. And this takes along with the Melanesian way. And again, is Melanesian way an ideal way to develop Papua New Guinea? No, friends. Melanesian way is not an ideal way to develop Papua New Guinea. With all these problems that we are facing, it makes us to wonder what is happening to the mining, to the agricultural and industrial sectors that are generating income. What is happening to all these incomes that are being generated? Well, friends, these incomes are generated, and through backdoor dealings, they are going under the tables into people's pocket because of the Melanesian way, because of nepotism. As a result, we have seen less changes in our country. Melanesian way encourages. Okay, number 2 point, corruption. Corruption. We have seen a lot of corruption in our country nowadays because of the Melanesian way, because of nepotism. Because of the so-called mentality, the one-talk system, politicians can do whatever they want because they know that if they are implicated and referred for prosecution, they know that somehow they will be able to escape punishment because of the one-talk system mentality that is in place. And these people which are up there in the governments, they are the ones determining whether we get developments or not. These are the ones that will determine whether we get developments or not. And with the corrupt leaders that we have in the parliament, because of nepotism, which is a Melanesian way, friends, we are not going anywhere. We are not developing here. So, again, I would like to just, from the opposition side, I would like to state that Melanesian way is not an ideal way to develop Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
First speaker of the opposing team. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the affirmative team.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, judicators, and my fellow opponent team. I'm going to talk about the educational aspect of the topic, Melanesian ways ideal to develop Papua New Guinea. But firstly, I'd like to rebut on what the first speaker of the opponent team has stated. Something about one-talk system. To be honest with you, if you see it in-depthly, it's because of greed that a human heart that leads to one-talk system. It's a system that greeds corrupt the mind and then leads to corrupt practices, and one-talk system comes into play. Thank you. Okay, firstly, about the educational aspect of the Melanesian way. The education, the Melanesian way teaches us many things, but I'd like to talk about just 3 of them. Number 1. The Melanesian way of education is very effective and helps a lot in our country towards development and developing our nation. Effective as in what is being taught today is being applied the very same day or the next day. For example, a father teaching his son how to build a house. The son goes and builds a house the next day or some days later. Or a simpler example is a mother teaching a daughter how to make garden or to make imbilum by me talk. Whereas looking at the Western educational system, it takes years of hard work, extra time, practice, effort, and all the hard work in the world you can ever think of. Sleepless nights just to study for your tests and exams. And then you pass out. That's if you pass out. And then you get a job and work. But if not, all the things and all the effort and hard work you've gone through, and most importantly, your parents' investments in you, is a total waste. And you will be a failure. And the outcome of it is that you'll run the streets. Eriku, 5 boy, 5 loose. The second main point I'd like to talk to you about is that education management teaches you family respect and family value. Teaches us what to do, mostly all the good stuff. Example, caring for people, sharing, the togetherness in us. Doing things in a respectful and loving way. And also, it teaches you not to steal, the Melanesian way, not to disobey your elders, and many others, which I can take time to tell you, but it's almost time to. So. And by that, it relates directly back to the Bible, which states in Proverbs that obey your parents and you live longer. And also it states in the Ten Commandments that thou shalt not steal. And looking back in time, do you think the fathers know about Bible and Christianity? No, 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 no way. But their teaching went directly in line with our Melanesian way. And that's a very clear picture that our way is the right way to develop someone's mind and to strengthen the mindset in the right way to help us in our country developing into the next stage. And also it makes us wise to make good decisions for all of us, which then leads us to the development of Papua New Guinea. The third point I would like to talk about is that Melanesian way of education teaches us to consider others and treat each other right, which leads to no harassment, and crime rate is low, which encourages investment into our country, which then helps to develop our developing and struggling country. Finally, I'd like to conclude by saying that the way of education, our way, the Melanesian way, teaches us and enables us to be more wise, considerate, respectful, and develops us as individuals with a clear conscience and mindset free of Western influence. By that, I'm happy to be a Melanesian way and to go through the initiations I've gone through, because Melanesian way defines a real man from all men and a real woman from all women. Thank you.
Thank you, second speaker of the affirmative team. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the opposing team.
Good evening, everyone. And not forgetting chair lady and also fellow students and also opponents. Just joking. Okay, firstly, I would like to rebut on the term failure. Now, every one of you here sitting here this afternoon are not failures. As long as you're living, you are productive, okay? Another one is, our fellow opponents touched on the Ten Commandments. Now, what I want you to know is the Ten Commandments are a religious type of an activity which they were actually not a Melanesian way. So you mean to say that the Melanesian way is a way to develop Papua New Guinea well? Well, you're saying that religion and the Melanesian way, pardon me, they conflicts. Some of the Melanesian way, they don't go align with our religion. Well, this leads me to my topic, and let me educate you all. Now you might say, I might say, our Melanesian attitude. You may ask me, what does that have to do with development? Well, let me educate you. This Melanesian culture was practiced, maintained, and inherited from generations to generations. This Melanesian culture was originated in an uncivilized age. Now, does this uncivilized age coincide with development? I don't think so. Well, that doesn't mean that, like, we put out the Melanesian way, you know. Well, this Melanesian way can sometimes hinder development, you know that? Now, if any Melanesian way or culture that hinders development, I think that we should do away with it, because for Papua New Guinea, development is a must. Am I right? So that leads me to my topic, and that is Melanesian attitude. What is attitude? Well, attitude can be influenced, peer groups, people you look up to. Well, here are some attitudes regarding the Melanesian way, and I hope you realize some of them. Caring attitude. Now, caring attitude is a Melanesian way. Do you know that? Our caring personality, the Melanesian way, affects law and order, affects the workforce, affects commonly known in our disciplinary system in our schools, and also our homes. Do you know that? Well, firstly, let's go to our workforce, or, pardon me, law and order. As you all know, Wednesday, the front page, rape. They wanted to increase the years spent in rape. Well, our government was not willing to do that. Why? Because it's our Melanesian culture, you know, like we feel sorry for each other. Another one is formerly known William Caprice. Another, it also affects our workforce. Our workforce, it affects our workforce. If you're working for a national, you can come to work at about 10 o'clock. If you're working for an expatriate, it's 9 and it's 9 o'clock. Well, our attitude is a Melanesian way. Discipline system in our schools. Now, the school says no one should be drinking. Well, boys come to school and they get drunk. But it's a Melanesian way that the school feels sorry for these students and pardon them and they're still in schools. You know that? Our family. We give more burden to our parents because we are so caring that we take our one-talks or relatives from the village and they're living with us, you know? Well, I would like to recommend that we can keep our Melanesian way, but if anything that hinders development, we should do away with it. Now the change starts now, and if we start now, we can change tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Now I'd like to call upon the third speaker of the affirmative team.
Good afternoon, fellow members of the audience, the educators, the chair lady. Okay, before I point out my side's view, I'd like to strongly rebut against what the first two speakers of the negative had said. Okay, the first speaker, you said that our development is slow and it's way too gradual, slow. The thing is that that's our Melanesian way. Too fast can kill. For instance, we have international proof. Thank you. We have international proof. For example, Greece, they have their own way of living, but they have developed too fast, which has seen them now, they are in bankruptcy. They are going through bankruptcy at the moment. And right now, we are far more better off than they. Okay, to the second speaker, our Melanesian way, it is biblically linked. For instance, we are taught not to steal. So are you trying to tell me that your ancestors told your grandfathers to steal from each other? So the point is that the Melanesian way is ideal for us to develop our country, in which I all know that all of you agree with me. Okay, back to my points. As stated by Utula Samana in his book, PNG, Which Way, he stated that the people of Papua New Guinea, the Melanesian way is usually based around the land. And PNG, we rely on our land for existence. All of our natural resources come from the land. Gold, fish, all the minerals, they come from the land. The Western culture has brought greed, and now it has crept into the hearts of our leaders. And lately, they have introduced a bill which has taken our land away from us. In our Melanesian society, the Melanesian way, the land is for the benefit of everyone, not only for one person. But however, with all due respect to Westerners here, those ideas and principles have taken our land away from us. The Western ways, the social life has taken our land away from us, and which can kill PNG and won't develop PNG. In the past, economically speaking, our ancestors did have an economy in which all of you all know they practiced the barter system. It was a barter, which means trading. And of course, currently we trade with our neighbors, overseas countries, fellow citizens in the country as well. For example, our people used to trade, my people used to trade with the coastal people for fish, and also they even at times, I'm sorry to say, but they even trade for their wives also. This can be seen as silly, but this was a way of living. This brought social harmony between people and their neighbors. Our people practiced economical ways of using the land. For instance, they went into the bushes. They went into the bush, they'd go get what they want and come out. But however, now, due to the lust of money, everyone goes into the bush, rip off everything, and nothing is left for the future generations. That's if people are planning to have children. Okay, and those simple practices can be applied to a basic mode of development for our country. So if we practice, for instance, in logging wise, we practice selective, which our ancestors did. Thanks to them, we have trees. If we practice those, I'm sure that we would develop. So even though we practice selective logging or I don't know what, selective gold mining, we would still have abundant reserves for the future generation. And the Melanesian way is the only and ideal way for PNG to develop. Thank you.
Thank you, third speaker of the affirmative team. Now I'd like to call upon the third speaker of the opposing team.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been saving the smile for your information. Okay, first of all, we the negative side strongly and reject everything, reject that Melanesian way is not ideal to develop Papua New Guinea. Okay, in regards to what the third speaker had said, he said that too fast will kill. Well, too slow. I'm afraid, did his grandparents see what development has taken place? Did they benefit from this development? Their grandparents have died. So development does not discriminate. Development is everyone. It's for everyone, actually. Development is because people want to have a better life. Okay, okay, we strongly argue that Melanesian way is not ideal to develop Papua New Guinea. Well, I have 2 points here that states that Melanesian way is not ideal to develop Papua New Guinea, and that is compensation, and the second one is traditional beliefs. Okay, the first one is compensation. First of all, what is compensation? Compensation is, in regards to Melanesian way, compensation is claimed by the landowners. Now, that's very popular with Papua New Guineans, and it's a common fact, and you all know that. Compensation is claimed by the landowners or chief for the use of their land or any of their material stuff. Okay, the third speaker said that we have all the natural resources and all those, and he said something about the environmental bill. Now, the environmental bill was, sorry, pardon me, I'm going out of track. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. What he's trying to say is that the environmental bill was like, it's going to destroy the environment. Well, actually, he's trying to say that he's trying to prevent development to take place. Development will not it's taken into consideration that development will not destroy our environment, and the government is well aware of that. Okay, compensation. According to my source, it's Mr. Mogia Dom. He's a consultant civil engineer from Port Moresby, based in Port Moresby. He extracted a very important information that says that in 2009, that's last year, in 2009, about 39 million kina was given by the government to compensate inhabitants along the Okuk Highway. It's a very alarming and very anger arousal piece of information. That Okuk Highway was well developed long time ago, but yet people are still demanding for compensation. Just imagine how the 39 million kina would develop, how much development it could make. Okay, the second one, traditional beliefs. As people engage themselves in malpractices of traditional beliefs, they tend to do less productive things in their lives. And traditional beliefs, they hinder development because they go against Western cultures. And sometimes beliefs is defined as an idea. Okay. Traditional beliefs will hinder development. Okay, finally but not the least, the negative side strongly argue that Melanesian way is not ideal to develop Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Thank you, third speaker of the opposition side. Now I'd like to call upon the final speaker of the affirmative team.
Thank you, Chairperson, or should I say, Chair Lady. Good afternoon, everyone. Or basically, in a Melanesian way, I'd say in my own mother tongue, that is Gulayan. That is Medang language. I am proud to call myself a true Melanesian. My skin pigment here, the color of my skin is brown. And I believe all of us sitting here, we have that brown color in us. Am I right or am I right? Okay. Before I go on and get out of what I'm going to say, I'll firstly rebut what the third speaker of the negative team has said about compensation. Compensation, looking at it from a Melanesian perspective. Just say we get a pig, put it on the road, get a car to run over it. Obviously, the villagers are going to come to compensate the pig. They're going to come and demand for the car, or whoever that is driving the car, to compensate for the pig that is dead. When they get that compensation, they go back and they distribute it to their families. One Talks. Now I'm going to go to One Talks. All of us that are seated here, we've got the beautiful lay secondary school students on the other side with white shirts, plus the Busu students there. Isn't this the Melanesian way of coming here, showing support? Isn't this Melanesian way, being my One Talk, you being here, giving me the moral support that I need to stand up here and speak? It is Melanesian way. So compensation is a way of solving things through so no further damage can be done. For example, no bloodshed. Do we want blood to be spilled? Do we need the Angans to come down and fight with the Hagan people? Do we need more bloodshed? This is a peace country here. We're supposed to be talking about peace. We should say, world peace, everyone, world peace. This is what we're supposed to get out and promote to our people. And that is Melanesian way of compensating, to solve things before things get out of track. Now, I'm going to go and say what I'm going to really say here, apart from rebutting. Summary for our affirmative team. Now, Melanesian way, defining Melanesian way. Melanesian way gives us a sense of identity. This necklace here shows me that I belong to a family, I belong to a village, I belong to a tribe. For example, let me say from the World Book, holy people of the Southern Islands are put on the world map, Papua New Guineans on the world map. Just imagine that. Why? It is because of culture. It is because of our identity as being Melanesian. We are there on the world map because we know who we are through our forefathers. We know our tribe. We know our family ties. We know who's my cousin and who's not my cousin. For instance, if I get a white person, no offense to anyone sitting here, and if I ask them to tell me who their family is, when you get to a funeral service, just a get-together when someone dies, Papua New Guinean will identify who their cousins are. A white person will never know who their cousin is and just walks past them on the street. You see, this is Melanesian way. This is our identity. This shows who we are. And this shows that we belong to a group or a family or a tribe. Or just say we belong to a state as Papua New Guineans and as Melanesians. Now I'm going to stress on what the second speaker has said about education. Let me put it straight. All of us sitting here, majority of us here are students. We are children to our parents. I'm going to make this simpler so that all of us can understand. Being a baby born, like the mother giving birth to you, you have to be taught and disciplined at home. Your parents have the responsibility of teaching you, mold you, shape you, then put you into a society. Isn't that right? At home, Melanesian way emphasize more on respect. For example, our parents in the past, my mother tells me every day, I can wear a short skirt and I can walk up and down the road. I can finish from a fellowship gathering and then go straight home. And no harm, no harassment would approach me. No one would come and grab me. Because there is sense of respect. Why do we lack this respect here now? Because we are not taught the Melanesian way, and that is respect. We are just being introduced into a system that corrupts our mind. We are trying to adapt, and just to add more to what my TED speaker has said, too fast can kill. Other cultures, for example, other nations that are trying to adapt, they are killing themselves because they are going too fast. Money, money, money. What do you get out of money? It's greed. And greed corrupts the system. So please, ladies and gentlemen, we must get it right. A baby is taught at home and then goes out. From the stage of being a baby, it turns out to be a toddler. Then from a toddler, it becomes a teenager. That's my second point. From a teenager, who do you become? Of the age of 18 and above. Who do you become? You become an adult. And when you're an adult, do you stay with your parents? Some of us do stay with our parents. But you become an adult, you get into the society. You get into where we are right now. I'm an adult, I'm being here in a society. All of you are going to judge me upon what I am taught of. My parents have taught me how to respect other people. My parents have taught me not to disobey orders that are given. This is integral human development. Do we get it here? We are developing ourselves from our homes, then we move into our societies where people are going to see us on how Melanesian way has brought us up. A classic example you look at nowadays. We, being integrated with Western civilization, should I say, we now are having so much social problems. Why are social problems happening? Because the main ingredient is missing, and that is respect, and that is sharing. All of us are greedy here. Can we see this? The problem is greed leads to stealing, then that leads to crime increase in our society. And when there's crime increase, there is no investment into our country. Not even a single Papua New Guinean can stand up to invest into his own soil. Because there is high crime increase in our society. Where at home, it's where you're taught about family tie. Importance of a family member. Get to know your family, which you know of our forefathers, for example. And one talks, like I've clearly stated before. Respect. There is always respect for elders. Nowadays, if you ask a child to do something, a parent sitting here, if you ask a child to do something, that child is going to tell you, shh, smisawe, amen. You see, there is no respect here. Melanesian way is not being put into practice. Our parents are lacking here by not getting what they're taught by their parents. Their parents belt them. Their parents beat them when they're wrong. Nowadays, because of these human rights, whatever rights that we have, child rights, we are not corrected when we're wrong. So we're taking this as a free ride, and which this will lead to crime increase in our country. Am I right by saying this, or am I not right? And with this, I'm going to add on by saying, and when the crime rate is, and when we practice respect in our families and in our society, sharing and caring, our crime rate will go down low. This will encourage investment, thus saying our economy flourishes. Now I'm going to talk about land in economical growth or economical aspect. Land, it takes a person to develop himself, herself, then uses the resources on that land to develop its nation. The Melanesian land, in the Melanesian perspective, is something that is a social being, something that is part of you. A land is my land. It belongs to my tribe, it belongs to my clan. And it is a part of me, where I interact, where I grow food from, and where I feed my family. Once doing this, we conserve our environment, which we will play a very important part in conserving our environment, whereby will lead to limit the problem that everyone is facing right now, and that is global warming. When we preserve and conserve our environment, that means we do selective logging. We go into our forest, we select things, we come back out and feed our family, and that is the Melanesian way. Select what you can and give to your children, rather than use everything. It also encourages economical growth in tourism, which contributes to a bigger proportion of the income that is raised in PNG annually. So we must think about these things, conserve our environment and so forth. Greed has gone into the hearts of men and has encouraged them to live on a fast lane. But I would strongly recommend every one of us to revisit the 5 national goals and 8 directive principles that our forefathers have set when establishing this new constitution of PNG in 1972, especially the 5 national goal, which was clearly said by the speaker, affirmative speaker for Bugandi when she was up here. These 5 national goals, to clearly state to everyone, are based upon Melanesian way. So every one of us here must really see that Melanesian way is an ideal way of developing PNG. Plus, Melanesian way, there was development back then and now before civilization came in. For example, a garden is a form of development. Thank you very much, and all of you have a blessed evening.
Thank you. Final speaker of the affirmative team. Now I'd like to call upon the final speaker of the opposing team.
Chair Lady, ladies and gentlemen, before I state my point of view, I would like to reaffirm on the topic that Melanesian way is not an ideal way of developing Papua New Guinea. I believe and I know that my fellow negative team also believes that Melanesian way is not an ideal way to develop Papua New Guinea. First, before I present my point of view, I'd like to rebut on what the affirmative side has said. Firstly, the affirmative side, they said a lot of things, good things. Okay, let's get this straight. Development and our identity and our culture, development and identity are 2 different entities. Okay, they said something about our true identity. What has our identity got to do with development? What has your cultural dancing and what has your skin color and what has your taboos got to do with development? Come on, let's think straight. Let's think real. Be realistic, people. Okay, they said something on act and think different and respect for one another. See for yourself. Times are changing. Girls, let's walk down to Eriku at this time. Will they respect you? We are living in a changing world. Times are changing. Hello, people, wake up. Okay. Secondly, they said something on on our educational side aspect. They said our Melanesian way, it what teaches us stuff and things. Okay, why not we all go back home and just let our grandfathers and mothers teach us? Let's leave school and go back home. We are living in a changing world, I repeat. parents, and they said parents, and what their investment to us is a total failure. Hello, people. It is a need that we go to school, be educated, be employed. That's the whole idea behind us going to school. Because we need what? Money. And let's just leave Bible out of this. Because Bible and culture, they are two different things. They don't go together, people. You talk about land. And what I think is you're saying that corruption comes through the Western system. Think again. Corruption starts with each and individual of us. Each and individual, I repeat. It starts with you and me, and not just the Western people. Let's not start pointing fingers. That's what we Melanesians are good at. Okay, talking about family ties and stuff, see for yourself. We are bringing people up, family ties, ebb and drift, all those things, bringing people together. They said something on our parents look after us, and then when we are older, we get out. We are living in a Melanesian way for the past 35 years. And all of us, prove me wrong, will get back and live with our parents. Just a few will go out and live by themselves. And before I stop that rebuttal, I'd like to repeat, Melanesian way is not ideal to develop Papua New Guinea because we are living in a changing world. Get your facts right. Finally, but not the least, I'd like to sum up what my first, second, and third speakers have said. Firstly, on nepotism, we are talking about development here. Nepotism is hindering development. Look at Papua New Guinea, for example. You may have the certificate, you may get diplomas, degrees, whatever, but if you go into a higher office, and if you're a one-talk, they will just give you the yes, green light button. Just come tomorrow for work. That's what we call one-talk system. If you guys don't know what nepotism is, one-talk system. We have this easygoing personality. We have this laziness attitude in our Melanesian way. No wonder we are not developing at all. We have this PNG time business. A clear example, sorry, no offense, but today, we were supposed to start at 12 o'clock, the opening ceremony, but we started at, I don't know, it's nearly 6 o'clock now. That's what we call PNG time, Melanesian way. We are too caring, too lenient. We have our schools corrupting because we have our schools, our education system, we are not moving up there. It's like we are coming down here because we are too lenient. We have this Melanesian way here that's making us too lenient. We have this, the disciplinary system, they'll give you a, first chance, second chance, and then, okay, final, when you do something wrong, then they'll take you out. This is what we call Melanesian way. No wonder we are not developing at all. Finally, to conclude, I'd like to say that Melanesian way is dominantly traditional. Most of the culture and traditions have been inherited during the period of uncivilization when you and I were not there. Who was there that time? See, no one was there. So that Melanesian way was inherited during the time of uncivilization. If you are there, then you may be along with the affirmative side. Times are changing, as I said. Today is not like before, and tomorrow will never be like today, right? Yes, we are living in a changing world. I will keep on repeating till I go and sit down. See for yourself. I was so thankful that one of the affirmative side has already said, you were once a baby, you are now teens, some adults now, not long you'll be old, and you'll get back into the soil. That's what we mean. Times are changing. See for yourself. It would be awkward to develop Papua New Guinea using Melanesian way, as obviously it is not modernized, as I have said. It was inherited during the uncivilization period. Okay, one question. How could you fix a computer using a traditional method? See? Come on, people, see for yourself. Has anyone fixed a computer using a traditional method? No. Okay, can we go and tell our grandfathers and grandmothers at home to come and fix a computer for us? No we are living in a changing world, as I have said. With the current and vast increase in knowledge and technology, we just have to do away with some of our melanation ways in order for development to take place. See? It has been 35 years of independence. 35 years of independence. We have been and we are still living in the melanation way, and nothing has changed much. We are still running in circles. Don't you see that we are going from A to B to Z and then back to A, and then we are not going anywhere? That's because we are still holding on to all of our melanation way, which we have to do away with some of them in order for development to take place. We are becoming like observers. We are just observing. See for yourself, Japan, they are one of the most developed countries in the world today, because they still have their culture with them. There's nothing wrong with culture, but there's a but in there. They did away with some of their culture and adopted some of the westernized cultures in order to make them to be to where they are now. So if we want a change, then let's do away with some of the cultures. Development also is talking on a large scale. We cannot compare ourselves with within our country. Talking of development, we are comparing us with the rest of the world. So let's talk development on a larger scale. Those other countries, they don't know what melanation way is. How can you compare melanation way with the rest of the world? They don't know what melanation way is. If you ask a white guy who hasn't been to Papua New Guinea and you ask him, melanation way, he'll be like, what? He doesn't understand what melanation way is. So we are talking on development based on a larger scale. That's what I'm trying to say here. And before I conclude and go and sit down, as said by Barack Obama, the current president of United States, which is one of the leading and the most powerful nation in the world today, if we want a change, the change starts with who? The change starts with us, you and I. So if we want to change to okay in Papua New Guinea, let's do away with some of the melanation way. Therefore, I reiterate and I repeat that melanation way is not an ideal way to develop Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Have you been entertained by these two last schools? Yeah? Is it worth it to wait till now? Yeah, okay, big round of applause to the two teams as they leave the stage. The Busu participants were Sonja Mayabu, Stephen Yoba, Mark Stephen, and Joyce Metakaisava. Thank you, Busu Secondary School. The lay secondary school participants were Ruben Tagabi, Robert Irie, John Potty, and Daphne Anget. Thank you, lay secondary school. Okay, for your information, we've skipped the question time and judges' remarks. For now, we'll have Mr. Iko to come up and say the remarks for the whole three debating teams. Just remarks from Mr. Iko. Thank you.
Oh, that was wonderful. Who enjoyed it? It was worth it. Thank you very much for your patience. I think you've been very, very patient and kind. We would like to let you know that this was something we realized that our young people, whom we are trying to develop for future, leadership in different sectors of the public and private. Definitely we can see from these three participating schools that we have some talents. We have some talent, some potential sitting, hidden out there. They need to be exposed. They need to be, given that opportunity. I think we're just doing that, and I just want to commend all of you who have participated today, the teachers, all the supporting students, visiting audience. You've done extremely well today. And I want to commend all those participants. It takes a lot of courage, especially to stand in front of your peers. And I want to tell you, you've done very, very well today, and we expect to see a lot better tomorrow and the day after. So come prepared, and I want you to know you have started on a very good note. Even though we started late, tomorrow we start nice and early, and I strongly believe that we will have very rewarding days to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Iko. Okay, thank you, everyone. Tomorrow is the real one, so be present tomorrow. Thank you.